Welcome to Progressive Mindset Podcast. My name is Natalie Potts, personal development and business coach, and each week I'll be bringing you an inspiring personal message to help you unlock creating and living a life full of energy and happiness. And I'm going to give you a quote to start your day from Darren Hardy, and this is in the compound effect. Small, seemingly insignificant steps completed consistently over time will create a radical difference. And I'm going to draw upon an example to bring this to life, because this is an example that will resonate with every single person, okay? So when we brush our teeth in the morning, and we know that it is important to do, it is going to help us create a compound effect. So on the other side, that morning we don't brush our teeth. That evening then we don't brush our teeth. That day, whilst it seems insignificant in the small steps and small side of things, actually, if you continue to do that over time and you do it the next day and the next day, that has an effect. And this is what we call like the compound effect. So let's switch that up and take the business, our businesses. We are people that just want success overnight. We want things straight away. We want gratification. We want to feel that we can feel good about everything all the time, that everything's always positive. And that's not life. Things take time. Great things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, all these ideas and thoughts, quotes, these are true. So if you are building a business and you're struggling, let's embrace that struggle. That's going to be the difference. Let's embrace and think about the steps. And I talk about this so much in my business because there is loads of quick, get rich schemes out there. And I'm going to be a little bit maybe controversial here that, especially coming as a coach. I have definitely last year looked at a few coaches out there, and they've been like, they have costed tens of thousands of pounds to commit for like a 12-month program with them. And I've looked at them and just thought, like, you didn't just have somebody that helped you overnight. Like, it took a long time for you to get to where you are to get to be able to doing those types of things. And don't get me wrong, I would love to be doing programs and like charging that much and receiving that much and knowing that I'm offering value. But that's the key part. I want to know I'm offering value. And I think there's too many people out there on social media that are drawing vulnerable people, almost victims to a degree, to say, let me take your money, let me give you the roadmap, let me get you there quicker. Yes, of course, the purpose of a coach is to move someone from A to B quicker than if they would do it on their own. But it is not to just give them this blueprint, say, this worked for me, go and do it, and it's going to work for you, because it's not. And I know it's not. It is about fueling your energy and attention and your money into the right places. And it's about focusing on the right things. And let's break down those steps. So when we're talking about building business, one of those steps is about, and a key part of building a business is knowing your story, knowing what it is you're putting out there, knowing what the value is. Things like meditation, affirmations, reading, great, absolutely brilliant. Even goals to a degree, like get your goals in order, but don't keep going over and over them. Know them and get focused on them and really do know them. So I remember years ago, I got a bit of feedback once because I had some objectives in a position I was doing in leadership in business, and I had like 10 objectives, and like some of them I didn't really achieve, and these were like big bulky ones, obviously, with kind of milestones along the way, etc. But I was like, yeah, I just did too many. He was like, yeah, you have, because you haven't achieved some. And then that's kind of game over scenario in business, especially corporate world, when you haven't achieved something. That's a bit of a different conversation. So that was definitely my learning then, that you have great big goals, but make sure don't always have loads all the time. Get them, build on things. So it's about starting by building a story and knowing what you stand for and knowing where you offer this value. You are constantly building your story, whether it's your sleep, in terms of because your routine around the sleep, when you wake up in the morning, it has a power to change others' lives, but you have to know it. And this is the key part in the business, is knowing your story and where you offer value. And it kind of got me thinking about, what is it about the brands that I love? Why do I love them? Why would I go and pay £190 for a pair of Nike Airs? Don't get me wrong, there's no way I'd ever pay that at Sports Direct. £40 pop is easy. It's fine for me. I do, however, spend out on things like a nice Mulby bag or my Apple products because they offer me value. They offer me, I feel that when I look at them, they've been milestones in my life, or that they create simplicity for me, or they aid me, or they make, I feel that I'm organised, therefore I'm more productive. So those brands for me, they're creating a story because they're helping me create my life as well, and the way I want to live it, and they're a part of me and a part of who I am, and I'm inspired by them, and it's because they're offering value. Yeah, that's what inspires me. And the same as when you see, I remember when I went to New York a couple of years ago, and I saw Nike advertised on one of their billboards on one of the blocks, and it was, Serena Williams, it was some basketball players. I think it was, I can't remember now, but there were absolutely, you can find these quotes by Nike as well. And I'm reading it at the moment, Shoe Dog, which is all about the Nike swoosh or tick, however you want to put it. And it's all around this element of the brand and the person and the value. So I think that when you're looking at building a business and you're really struggling, start tapping into this, breaking things down to the small steps, and knowing, and this is why I've called it shortcut syndrome, there ain't no shortcut, sunshine, right? I'll be really blunt and honest on that great things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, you can't build your business online overnight. It just can't happen. You can't join this quick rich scheme, get her roadmap that should work for her, get her blueprint that worked for her or him, and suddenly implement that. And Bob's your uncle. Suddenly you got all these dollars rolling. It doesn't happen. So sometimes the fact that we are scared about wanting to take the step in moving forward with a longer journey is actually the great part. This should be what fuels us. This should be that you should be energized by that. And this is why I draw upon, again, not being too controversial, that, I'm a coach sitting there saying don't sign up to a £10,000 coach. But because I do have my own coach, a one-to-one, and I have great mentors that I work with. But I work with them because they really zone me out on paying attention to what I need to focus on in the smaller steps. And sometimes I've done masterminds and things, and they've been great too, but for different things. It might be that those areas of joining something like that and connecting with people in communities, which I love doing, is more about a area or a step on my journey that I'm focusing on. So I'll give you an example. One thing it might be around is influence and impact. And I would love to, in time, be able to do a TED Talk. That's a big goal of mine for the next 10 years. So to connect with people and be in the room, and to look at how I impact and influence, or working in, I work with leadership teams as well. So how I am as a leader and getting feedback from that, deliberately putting myself in those scenarios and getting feedback and listening is helping me on that step to get there where I want to get to, which is my goal. My long-term kind of, 5 to 10 year goal to do a TED Talk. So it is, again, breaking down those steps. So I do have mentors and people that I do, but I'm signing up for the long haul here. I know that I want a coach for, maybe sometimes I want a coach for 6 months, and I want a bit of a break for 3 months, and then I want another coach, because again, I know the importance of the journey and the longer term that I have to implement. These people that just want something more in 12 months' time will be here. Yeah, you look great. You will move on. I'm not saying you won't move forward. Absolutely, of course, because they will give you tools that you can implement and do, but they will not give you the time. Okay, they will not give you the time to explore what works, what doesn't work. And we have to go down what doesn't work. There is no point jumping on somebody's quick rich scheme and thinking, it worked for them, it's going to work for me, because they've just sieved out everything that didn't work. Well, that's bollocks, because we're all different, and that's how we should all embrace ourselves and be proud of that and our differences. I don't want to be the same as what I see people on social media. And, I get really passionate about this, and you probably hear my shift of energy. I'm going to go off on a tangent, which I do quite a lot, actually. But I was watching social media the other day, and my frustration about the fact that I can post something about children in need, or about shout where I work as volunteer for mental health. I post something about that, and it gets whatever likes, and then I go scroll down and see somebody on their bloody TikTok. I'm swearing quite a lot today, but I'm very passionate about this. or they're on their story, or they've done this reel of them prancing around in some lovely clothes. Again, I do that just as much. But they then get like thousands of likes. And I'm like, how can somebody that offers amazing value, that is helping somebody, that is changing a life, that has maybe saved a life in mental health, get less appreciation or gratification than somebody who's just jumped on there or, you know, done a sexy post and things without actually anything on it? Again, you could criticize me for this and say, well, you stick some pictures on there and shoots and things. Yeah, but they're related to the story underneath. Exactly the story, what got me to that point. So the long haul, the fact that actually I didn't just rock up one day and jump in front of a camera and say, oh, shoot me. I worked for like 9 months straight out. I built my body up. I got muscle. I then, you know, I overcame the roadblocks. I then went again and I did the lean process part. And then I got ready for the shoot mentally in the games. You know, it was a long journey. It wasn't just an overnight success. So I think, you know, I know, like, let's just draw upon being picky and get wise and get uncomfortable with not knowing always what's happening or the future, and just focusing on building those steps over time. If you love what you do, those steps shouldn't be hard, because you should find that you want to wake up and do those things. You want to jump out of bed and do those things. And of course, the mundane parts are that you have to do the admin or the accounts. That's life, you know. It's your journey. And people say sometimes I don't like the word journey, but I think that's true. And I think it's a great example. And a life of abundance, of just having everything, actually probably doesn't bring happiness and anything meaningful. You don't want a life where you have everything you want. You want to be working for things and achieve them, and you want to be working, giving them back and giving value and being compassionate with others and being compassionate with yourself. So those days, and you can build on that analogy of the road, you know, those dark days when you're driving on that road and you just think, you know, which way do I go? Or you hit the sharp corners and you think, oh, that was a risk, but I took it and it paid off. Or you go and hit a dead end and you have to turn around. You know, it is hard. It's not easy, and you can't have everything. And building a business is the same. There is things that contrast and conflict, and that can be frustrating. Of course it can be, but you need to funnel that and fuel that into your energy that will fire you to turn it around and make the changes that you need to. And it's about sharpening the saw. And that example comes from Steve Covey. So one of his 7 habits of highly effective people, or successful people, whatever, same thing, is that you have all of these habits and then you get to the last one, 7, which is sharpen your saw. And it is about sharpening all of those 6 habits before it. And that breaking things down doesn't necessarily make it quicker, but it makes it that you will get there. And people can, you know, I can't break things down quickly for you, but I can help you break them down. Everyone is constantly wanting that shortcut, and you've got to be truly honest about what you really want. No £10 book on personal development is just going to suddenly get you there overnight. So do what you love, and sharpening the saw is about preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you have, and that is you. Let's repeat that. The greatest asset that you have that you want to enhance is you. And that means about having, you know, the balanced way of life, the approach where you look at things and you approach your life in the physical, the social, emotional, or the mental, the spiritual. You want to renew all these areas and look at them and understand. Again, this is being discussed because this is building your story. You're building you. You're building and creating your masterpiece, which is your life. And that creates your story. That creates a journey. That creates the inspiration. That adds the value to others. So anybody that thinks that they just want to get rich or they just want to build a business overnight, it's not about any of this. It's almost just completely boycotts all of that. You don't actually embrace any of that. You don't add value. You don't build anything. You don't learn much. You'll learn a few things, of course you will, but you won't learn in the same way. It won't change the way you see things and see the world or see others. So you want to really work through this and get yourself out there, get scared about things, and build on that. It's a little bit like sex, it feels good. We want more of it. We want it straight away. We want that self-gratification. Gin makes me feel good. It chills me out. I love it. Whether people say it's bad for you, I know it's bad for me all the time sometimes, but I enjoy it. It makes me feel good after a long day. It makes me feel chilled. And I notice a difference in my state. But I have to manage that appropriately, and that's the difference in the controls. So think about, if you're really struggling, kind of think about like, what's my story? How do I add value? Think about, what is it that you love? What do you like about your job? Are you good at it? Do you appreciate others, or do you appreciate your job or your work? Is it a skill, something you're doing, or is it, like great skill and it's something you're paid to do, or is it just a passion out of work? And then start writing down, like, what is it? And work out ways to make this attainable. And again, this goes back to exactly, again, like I always come back to this, is purpose in life. And often people come and say, like, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what to do. I feel, or the term I hear a lot is, I feel lost. I feel really lost. And you have to start going down again the journey, the route to, what is it in you that you want to change? What is it that you want to do? What is it that fires in your belly, that makes your heart sing, that gets you up out of bed every morning? What is it that your strengths? Because often our strengths are what we love to do. Find these, feed these, and you will find the way. I will give you an example just sometimes, because we still think, yeah, it's great, but I don't know what it means to me. So something I've been working on, I'm a big believer in personal development and, self-development and improving myself every day. And that is reading books and learning, but more importantly, it's about getting experience. That's the most important part of things. And it was the example that, I think you could say, doing coaching. So I've been coached since 2015. I've been coaching, and it's only 5 years. Like, it's not long at all. But people come to you and be like, oh, I want to get this grade in coaching. I want, so I mentor actually coaches as well. And they're just starting out in their businesses, they're just starting out their qualification. And they'll come and be like, I want a distinction. I want this. It's like, whoa, right. Okay. What do you really want? Well, I want to get a grade. No, what do you really, really want? Because what you should be really, really wanting is to be the best at coaching, to see the journey, to know that it's not going to take 6 months, that if it takes 2 years, that you might be a better coach by that. So we focus, again, like I said at the start, we just focus on the wrong things, and focusing on that part of building the awareness of what you want, building the passion that you have, build that story. Know that I can talk about something with coaching because I've done 5 years of it. I could talk you every step along the way of how to become a coach. If I did that overnight, I wouldn't talk about it in the same way, or the same passion, depth, experience. And when I talk experience, I wouldn't be able to talk about the same in terms of this worked really well, this didn't go well. Because if I just followed somebody else's blueprint, I probably just tick the boxes, right? Or I just wouldn't be as passionate about it. I don't honestly think you can be that passionate about something that somebody else has given you that was theirs, because we're not like other people. So cultivate that self-awareness. So one thing I did today as well, actually, like I was just drawing on with the self-development, is on there's so many tools online we don't actually use them to benefit. We think, again, like giving our money to somebody to give us that is what we need to do. There is a self-development tool. It's on it's called VIA Institute, if you Google it, and it talks you through, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes, and it's one of those where it gives you like the scale of not me, very like me, and at the end it gives you your top 5 strengths. So I did this back in 2016. My top strength was honesty. And then I did it today. My top strength was gratitude. And like literally, I was very happy with that. I was done for them, because I have really worked on being more empathetic and having more empathy and being more compassionate as a person. Aside, my mum and dad joke at that when I say it still, but because I can be very blunt. But I've really worked on it, and I've worked on it by identifying it and having a self-awareness that I got feedback that I wasn't as empathetic in some scenarios as I could be. And then I thought about, okay, so I want to be more empathetic. I want people to be telling me that. That's the goal, is to get more empathetic. And I will measure that by people telling me and give me examples of ways I've made them feel that way, and knowing that I've offered value. So I've worked on that massively. I've done a lot of listening. I've just been very aware. I've asked people how they took me on things or how I came across, to improve my self-awareness of things. I've started looking at, well, what ways do people get more empathetic? And a lot of that was about looking at volunteering and having more gratitude for everything in life. So that's absolutely how I went down that road of building more compassion around helping others with my time. And that's how I became a volunteer for Shout. So that again took me on. It's those steps to that goal which made me more compassionate and more empathetic, and therefore, a Strengths Finders has assessed me and said that I have more gratitude now. Brilliant. So it's like I've achieved that just by doing a free test. I was like, I really value that. That's made me really happy today, and I've worked on something really, really hard. And over a long time, I've done that for about 2 years, really working since that feedback. And now what I choose to do with that is when people say you are too empathetic at times, which I actually get back, I say, well, that's me. That's my story. That's who I am, and that's what I stand for. And that helps me in my confidence. And so again, we go back to the start of the compound ripple effect. This is what this has, and this is what I love about things. And this is this journey that I've been on for 5 years since becoming a coach. I wasn't this type of person 5 years ago at all, by any means. I didn't think the way I think. I didn't look at life. I didn't look at the world. I didn't look at every day the way I look at it now. But it's a journey. And I guess what I love about this kind of side of podcasting is that it can feel, I sit here thinking, oh my goodness, I've been on a tangent. I've gone on this. And I've just come back to still the compound effect, your journey, and having a story. Those three things. And I've talked a bit about confidence. I've talked a bit about awareness. I've talked a bit about passion, about where you should invest your money and building a business. So yeah, that's kind of how my head works. And then I kind of think, well, that's me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and rattle off something for you. If it resonates with you, fantastic. There are 8 billion people in the world. I'm pretty sure it's going to resonate with you. And if it resonates with you, great. So I'm going to draw it in there and just draw you upon the podcast I've done before. So I really want to work with different people around building business and everything. So if that's you and you'd like to be on my podcast with me, then let me know, because I spark a lot off of others. I can talk for England as well if I want to. I prefer just to listen a lot, I've noticed in myself maybe the last months. For 9 months, I've really just spent a lot of time just taking a step back, reflecting, watching things and listening to others. And I love it. So if you would like to come on and share your story, please reach out and let me know, because I'd love to have you on. So thank you for listening. If you haven't listened to last week's, it was with Dan Poulter, who is one of my accountability buddies. He was on a mastermind I was on last year, and I love him. He's an amazing guy. He helps me. I help him. We just have great synergy together. We bounce off very well. We have great ideas together. He tries things, I try things, and then we share ideas, etc. So look, he's a great guy. Go and listen to that, because it's about building a business and moving from the gym floor, because he's an online coach, to the gym space, which he has been absolutely amazing on, has truly inspired me with that. So I highly recommend you check that out. I'll put a little link in the podcast like I do always, and connect with me on social media. I'm on nataliepottscoaching.co.uk, and I am on Facebook at Living a Vibrant Life Community. So I'd love to hear from you. So you can sign up to my newsletter every single week as well, which comes on a Friday. So I do my podcast on a Monday and do my greatness newsletter on a Friday. So share your reviews, please. Share this with a friend. And leave your feedback. I really appreciate it to know what you thought. What I could do better as well. Why not? Let me know. I'm happy to constructive feedback always, but I'm happy to hear. So whatever you do, please today go out and have a great day. And again, whatever you do this week, go and have a great week.